Hello, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Brand Business and Boundaries. I am your girl Shekinah, and I am with.
Kimberland, what up?
Hey, y'all, welcome back to another week. This week is just exciting as any other week because why? We got stuff going on. We got things we're doing. We got things moving in the universe, moving and grooving. So, before we get into our chat today, let's check in with our coworkers and tell them what we worked on during our coworking time. So, what did you get done, my dear?
So I am eyebrow deep in the middle of Discover Your Destiny and preparing for Discover Your Destiny and some people that are preparing to go on their journeys. So I was able to send out emails and some reminders and correspondence about what they need to do because we start next week, and then I have someone starting the week after that, and then I have someone starting the week after that. Okay, so getting the people in the space to get ready and be prepared is what I was working on. So I was able to send a couple text messages as well as some emails. So shout out to me.
A
What
woo,
about you?
a woo. So I'm working on my newsletter. I'm working on ways to enhance it. So I'm trying to use AI, and see, this is where AI is sometimes better, sometimes worse. It helped me with my little 4 panel comic, but then I asked it to put together a crossword puzzle, but the things ain't crossing and worded. So it's just like, well, it helped in that getting the questions and the clues and a general idea of a layout, but
Right.
not for real. So
You're
I
gonna have to go
gotta,
back and put some love on that.
yeah, clean that up a little bit. So that is what I'm working on, but I need to honestly finish that. Well, it'll probably have to wait until tomorrow, because it goes out the first Friday in the month. So, with that being said, I want to talk today about opportunities. Okay, we are preparing, and part of what we did in our co working time was talk about opportunities that are coming up for myself and some things that, opportunities for yourself and the people in your universe that are colliding. And so I wanted to just discuss, how do you prepare for opportunities, right? How do you know if you're ready? How do you know if, um, how do we talked about like managing expectations and all the things, and then they say, one of my favorite phrases is luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So I do believe if you stay ready, you envision things, you role play, you practice, you set yourself up for success, not assuming that you'll get anything, but preparing for an opportunity. So I wanted to kind of discuss that because as we're expanding our brand, as we are working on our business and setting up our boundaries, hopefully things are aligning, and with alignment typically comes opportunity. So, just share, I guess, maybe some first thoughts or responses or whatever, however, on that.
Yeah, first I want to say things are absolutely aligning. So it's not even a hope. Like things are actively happening, and things are always actively happening for events and opportunities to align. I do think there are some things though that we need to do to be prepared for that alignment, but I do think it is wise to move about the world knowing that God, the universe, spirit guides, ancestors, whoever are the folks that you have with you on your journey. Um, they're always conspiring for us to achieve our purpose and our destiny, to have these divine appointments and all that. So I think the first thing that comes to my mind is that recognizing and treating things like divine appointments, and knowing that there's a reason that you're walking into that space, whether it is to learn what to do, what not to do, who to meet, how this works, what you need to say, how you need to show up, where you put your name on the paper. Like, there are so many things that you're able to get out of any experience that you might walk into. So I think the first mind shift is in recognizing every door that we walk into, whether that's a physical door, a virtual door, every engagement with somebody else is an opportunity to learn something, right? There are no throwaway experiences that we
Mhm.
have. Every experience is to teach us something or to usher us into the next level. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. The second thing, almost immediately, that came into my mind after that is research, because we have to know and be prepared for what we are walking into, right? We have to do our due diligence to gather as much information as we possibly can before we get there, especially if you're somebody with a neurodivergent brain, right? So, a lot of times, people that have a neurodivergent brain, as you mentioned, role playing and, scouting out where you're going before you get there, so you know exactly where you need to go, like putting yourself in position to remove barriers or obstacles that might cause additional stress and anxiety. So thinking ahead of time about what needs to happen, how that can happen, what is this going to look like, how am I going to like rehearse it out, you know um and then make sure you have the research to back it up. So I'll give you an example. One of the projects that I'm working on right now is building out a curriculum for schools, school districts, teachers, educators, staff that work at schools to be able to support themselves as adults in their emotional intelligence and emotional competency so that they are able to teach that to children, right? And so I'm working on that with one of my mentees, and we're getting responses, right? People are replying to the email like, yes, I will, yes, set up a call. This sounds amazing. And so then my next thing that I said to my mentee is, and we need to know who they are before we walk in there. So now we need to get on that Google. We need to get on down and look at the improvement plans and the professional development things. What does their website say? What is their goal? What is their vision? What is their mission? What do we need to know about them to be able to align what we are doing with what they have already done, what they want to do? That is often something that is neglected in our preparation. And it stands out when you walk into a room. People know because you're going to say something in particular. So, for instance, on your website, you said that your vision was to create opportunities for students to have a holistic understanding. And what I want you to know is we absolutely align with that, right? You're using their words to be able to support what you're doing. You're walking into a casting call. Well, I need to know how this universe operates. Well, last week I saw y'all had posted so and so and such and such. I really like that one because it falls in line with something that I'm creating also that feels like it would be an amazing collaboration. Do your research before you walk into a space. It is integral that it happens. So those are the first two things I think that popped up. One, the first, again, recognizing that every opportunity is an opportunity. And so what am I supposed to get out of this? And not necessarily walking in there, for instance, with things like casting. And even what I'm talking about with these meetings with these schools. I'm not necessarily walking in saying I'm a landed. I'm walking in with the information that I have, knowing that I'm here to gather information, and also knowing I'm phenomenal. And it might come down to I'm just not tall enough. And ain't nothing I could do about that.
Yeah,
I am
yeah,
5'2" or 3/4". Okay.
yeah.
And so you're looking for somebody who's 5'8", and guess what? I'm not. And I'm not gonna be. Right. So that doesn't take away from the value that I have. That doesn't take away from the amazingness that I offer. It literally might be like, we need somebody this height because when it is written, you need to be right off of their shoulder and you at their belly button. And that's just not gonna work. Like, so also recognizing that so that your value remains intact and you're still able to get what you need to get out of that space when you go into that space, and not feeling like you are selling yourself, right? Because they are looking for you. And also, it might not be aligned. And if it's not, that's also okay. What did I gather out of this experience that can support me in the next opportunity that I have that may be more aligned?
Yes. And so what I hear you saying is really, honoring each opportunity as such, and knowing like what the opportunity in the opportunity is, right? Opening your heart and spirit and soul to see that, because it may not always be obvious. Like as a creative, as an artist, right? We often strive to be accepted, loved, chosen. Right? I want to be. I'm going to this call because I want you to choose me. Otherwise, there's no point in me going, right? And I think that's okay to be real with ourselves about that. But where we can lose our value in is saying, if I am not chosen, then I am not worthy, and therefore I wasted my time, and this wasn't for me, and maybe now this whole thing isn't for me. Versus understanding, I would like to be chosen. Yes, absolutely. But I am going to know that I am here for a reason. So if being chosen wasn't the reason, let me allow my heart and mind to be open to whatever that other reason is and was. And so that's where we have to balance our ego and our pride, because they're not always bad things, right? You need an ego to be on a stage and say, what I'm about to do on this stage is going to affect that audience, whatever, whether it's funny, whether it's emotional, whether, like, you need to know you're good at that, right? Like, you need that. Because downing yourself and getting on that stage, you're going to give a piss poor performance, right? So whether it's giving a presentation, you need to know, I have studied. I know this person's website. I know what matters to them. I know what matters to me. And what I'm about to tell them is some good shit. I know it is. And that's not, I'm better than her, I'm better than him, I'm better, blah, blah, blah. But it is a knowing that what I am coming with is valuable. And me being in this space is for a reason. There's a graphic I just screenshot, and it is showing all these parts of the galaxy. Oh, damn. And all it is layers and intergalactic and stars and moons and suns, and it says
All
all
this,
this
and we
and we
still
still
met.
met.
Yeah.
There's no happenstance, right? There's no just because. And when we lean into and embrace that and open ourselves to that, it's easier to manage that expectation and that sensitivity and that value and that worth piece that is often associated with opportunity. Whether that is, again, just giving a presentation, just the opportunity to bring the donuts for, the class, or to change the world, no matter how big or small. We often associate our worth and our value with opportunity. And I think we need to be more keen and intuitive with ourselves on, but what is the opportunity exactly, right? Where am I? Because God is not setting you up for failure, right? He's not setting you up to not be chosen. Like because we'll go to the call and, set me up, got me all the way here, and then I didn't even get chosen. And because we have that mindset, we miss the fact that we met, the producer of our next project. We miss the fact that we met the graphic designer that we've been praying for. We miss the fact that we talked to an editor who's looking to do some new work, right? So all of that. And the last thing I want to say, and I'll bounce it to you to speak on this, is when we do what you said, when we study, when we do our research, when we know what we're walking into, when we honor the opportunity, when we show up 30 minutes late, when we practice, when we don't give ourselves too much credit, right? And we respect opportunity, I think we're better able to show up as ourselves in the space. We can. I don't have to think about, well, did I practice? Did I rehearse? Do I know this? What if they say something to catch me? It ain't catching me off. You're not, and if you do, I'm prepared for that. I'm on my toes because that's how I catch and flow and ebb and move. And so now I'm able to show up as myself. And so if I do get chosen for the opportunity, I know it's aligned because I might get chosen and I was never myself in that room. I'm stuck in something. I've gotten a promotion. I'm stuck bringing the damn donuts and I don't even fuck with donuts. Right? So sometimes we are vying for opportunity and chances and they aren't even aligned because we didn't do our research. We didn't know that if I bring these donuts now, I got to bring them every Tuesday for the next 7 years. Now we stuck, you know? And so when we do those things, I think we're able to now show up as ourselves in our God given gifts and talent and just be. And if we connect, if I land this, if I land that, excellent. Or, if not, excellent. So I want to end on, that concept, that idea.
Yeah, you really you have me taking flashbacks in my mind, because I remember when I had my first audition, for entertainment, and I didn't know what to expect, but I had done, the research. I had my things prepared. I got down there on the Googles and was like, what's supposed to happen? And I remember the CEO of the company asked me, "Why are you here?" And I was like, I don't even know. I actually started not to come, to be
Mm,
honest with you, because I don't know why I'm here. Now, before that, in the audition, I had to act, walk, and sing, right? One thing I know how to do. I might have little legs, but baby, I know how to work them. Okay, sis know how to walk. So I was ready for that walk. Acting, I got it. I've been on
mm,
stage since a kid, right? Singing, I don't know. We're gonna see what
yeah.
this look like. We'll see,
Right,
right?
right, right.
But I was open to all of that. And what was so interesting when I said that to her, she said, I'm so glad you came
Mm,
because you are the type of person where you walk in a room and the whole room turns and looks at you. And you try and
mm,
hide in the back and try to like be small, and the whole room will part and they'll say, Kimberly, what do you think? Right, while you just in the back try to, and I said, girl, how you know my life? How do you know my life? Right? But I bring that up because, to your point, when we know we've prepared, we've done the work, I've done the research, I've done the things, I am able to show up authentically and really just be and vibe and flow. And that is the best place to be in, whether that's in an audition, whether that's in an interview, whether that's in going to the grocery store. I want
mm.
to be in a space where I'm able
Ooh,
to
going to
flow
the
and be
grocery
open
store.
to whatever God might want to do in that situation, right? I have a motto where I say, my goal is to leave people better than I found them. And that is whatever that interaction might look like. So if I'm walking around with that expectation, I'm
Yeah.
walking around knowing that I'm prepared, I am simply just waiting on the signal. And I'm a know. I'm gonna know when the signal is there. They're gonna say something about New Orleans. They're gonna say something about sunflowers. They're gonna say something about, you a teacher. Like they're gonna say something that I'm gonna know. Oh, it's time.
Mm, mm,
Hello.
mm, mm,
How are
mm.
you? Right? But all of that comes with having done the work to prepare yourself, to visualize yourself in that place, to have already been there. The last breath work that I did, it was focused on being
Mhm.
that. Be there. You're not on your way to there, you're there.
There.
Be there. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that sound like? How does that manifest in your body for you to be there? So when you get the actual opportunity and it's time to walk in the door, you can walk in and say, I'm here. I heard
Yeah.
y'all was looking for me. I'm here for
Here I
whatever
go.
that might be. Here I
Mhm.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. Really, really good tips. I think I'm really proud of us for having these conversations because I know the younger me needed this. I know she needed it from women like us in that there's a little bit of righteousness and ratchetness on the
Hmm.
line. We are not, I don't, I feel like we really are intentional and coming as authentically as possible and really bringing forth the full weight and um, understanding of our lives and our experiences to really, really help the next one out.
Yeah.
There is no gatekeep. Well, there's some gatekeeping, but from those who need it. But there is no gatekeeping from our sisters. Okay,
Hmm.
we are eager to be a resource and to answer a question and to help you prepare for the next opportunity, for the next situation, for the next conversation, for the next time you gotta cuss a bitch out, for the next time you need to kneel before the altar. Okay. All the
All of
things
it.
I think we
Hmm.
are really intentional about trying to help set ourselves and anybody listening up for success in those ways. So hopefully you guys are finding these conversations to be supportive in that way. So thank you, KJ, for being a wealth of knowledge and being willing to share and tell us the business and all the things. Is there anything you want to leave the people with before we go?
I think just to have confidence in knowing who you are and where you are. This is why we do this work of asking ourselves, who am I? Who do I want to avoid being? Like when you know who you are and you really have dedicated the time to knowing that and curating a life that really honors your alignment, then everything else is able to fall in line. So if you are asking yourself, I want to be able to speak with that conviction, I want to be able to, have that confidence when I walk into a room, that means that we need to do some work in really understanding who we are and how we want to show up and what does that look like to be aligned. Once you do that work, the opportunities are going to come because the opportunities are waiting for you to do
Mm-hmm.
what you need to do so that you're able to take advantage of the opportunity. One of the first things you said is like, God is not in the gotcha game. Like, God is not out here like, oh,
Ooh,
let me put you in this room and watch you embarrass yourself. Like, God ain't on that, right? And so a lot of the opportunities are not
man,
even
that's really
going to
good.
align until it is time for you to be able and ready to accept them and to walk into them. So know that as well, and always be in a space where you are preparing for that door to open.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that you are like racking your brain and going crazy. Some of the preparation that we do is in watching our favorite series and being able to look at it from a different eye. That is work because one of these days we are going to have our own series. And so we're doing the work now to be able to prepare for that. So it's a constant situation. It is not something that you pick up and put down. You are always in a state of preparing yourself for the opportunities that are coming. So treat your life like that so that you're able to be in the flow and in the know as things are coming because they are heading your way. They are on the way.
And the last thing I want to say.
Not the last.
No, because you just said so. You said something to me, and it just made me emotional. I don't know. I love what's the name? What's the word? Alliteration. So when you said
Mm.
God is not in the gotcha game, it just made me
Ah.
think that also when the opportunity is present, the credit and the respect you give yourself to say, I have been doing some work. I have been trying. I have been, putting one step in front of the other, and this is a gift. This is a the next little piece of candy, on the trail. And thank you, God, but also thank you, Shekinah. Like, good job. You've earned it. Like, you kind of can feel like, ooh, I'm leveling up a little bit. Okay, you see me being responsible with the things. You see me stewarding the gifts. Okay, like Like, yeah, I'm
Exactly
gonna take my
that.
little treat, and so honoring and loving on yourself in that too when
Yeah.
you do see the opportunity, and not always feel like you have to approach it with such trepidation and fear. Sometimes it is a reward
Yeah.
and for the hard work. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's it.
excitement, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes we feel like that excitement, a lot of times that energy, we're used to that being associated with
Right.
anxiety and not being prepared, right? But when you are prepared, baby, that's pure excitement. Like it's just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it's happening. Like it's
Correct.
literally happening. And that is the best feeling. And
Yeah.
so, my wish for all of you that are listening and watching this is that you are able to get yourself to a space of recognizing and realizing I have been working towards this, I've been doing this, and now it is happening. And I'm going to appreciate that and treat this opportunity like the gift that it is, because it is.
Yes. All right. Type in the chat some opportunities that y'all got coming up. I know they're out there. Or some opportunities that you are preparing for and just waiting for them to cross your door. Okay. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. We gotta be prepared. We gotta stay ready, stay on your toes because baby girl, it is happening. Okay? And y'all stay tuned for our merch drop. It's happening soon. All right. And if you don't have any opportunities or anything you want to share, put it's happening in the chat with some books and some bubbles, and we will know that you see that. All right. See y'all next week, right here on Brands Business and Boundaries.
Bye, y'all.